guys, and welcome back to Altcoin Buzz Spotlight with me, Layah Heilpern. Joining me today for an AMA, we have the CEO of ShareRing, Tim Bos. Tim, how are you doing?
Hey Layah, good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Great to have you back on the show. There's been a lot of developments since we last spoke, I think nearly 6 months ago, so I'm really excited to chat to you. But before we start, obviously, I want to learn a little bit more about you. So tell me about yourself and why you decided to start a blockchain company.
Sure, this is actually my fourth company that I've started. So I started my first company in the 90s as a bit of a side gig while I was working at a video game developer. So I was general manager for a video game company for IT department there, and I sort of decided to start my own company back then. So that sort of gave me the first, I guess, taste of running my own company. And my family, my parents and my grandparents had always run their own companies as well. So I guess it's in the blood. So fast forward a few years, I worked for a few consulting companies. I worked for Microsoft and a Accenture joint venture called Avanade for a while, worked for an investment bank for a while, basically running strategy for their Asia Pacific region, and then started my own company in 2004 doing GPS tracking. So we did a number of things like tracking of animals, tracking of vehicles, and a bunch of other things. Fast forward to around 2010, I sold that company and started another company called Keys. And Keys, our original focus for Keys was really to develop a platform for the sharing economy. So what we wanted to do is create this sort of ubiquitous platform that allowed people to share anything or businesses to run their own rental and sharing products on it. And we very, very quickly figured out that using traditional technology like database and APIs and all of that, it was very difficult to create a one-size-fits-all, especially for something that has so many different variables such as rental and sharing. So what we did is we just focused on vehicle sharing, and always in the back of my mind, I always wanted to create that company that could create this platform for the sharing economy and a number of other industries. So that's why we started sharing. So Ethereum came out, white paper for Ethereum around 2016. I read that, did a lot of research, got some of my team to start researching it, and then in late 2017, sharing was born. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a long path to get to this point, but, you know, everything that I've worked on has basically led to us developing this platform.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting just to go back a little bit and hear about your family and everybody, you know, sort of started their own business and everything like that. So it sort of was only inevitable that you'd go and sort of do the same. So you mentioned sharing, obviously, We're going to talk about sharing. So talk to me about it. Tell me about some of the products that you have and what actually makes the platform special.
Yeah, so I mean, sharing itself, what we're basically doing is developing the backbone of the next generation sharing economy. So people think of sharing economy really in traditional sense of me renting something to someone else or a business renting something to someone else. We look at it more of a holistic view to basically say sharing economy includes technologies such as identity management, rental management, some e-commerce, and some other functions. So what we're basically doing is creating the platform that contains all of those functions and allows for businesses to integrate with that platform and utilize a lot of the technology that we've developed. What we've also done is we've created a front-end app that actually allows those businesses to get customers, so the consumer-facing side of things. So at the moment, the app is very focused on e-commerce and travel. But we're adding some other services to it, such as banking, education, and a number of other things as well. So, I mean, one of the things that we're trying to do is really build the technology to connect the people, places, and commerce globally through this business to consumer type environment. So the technologies that we're working on at the moment include identification, document storage and verification, on-demand access services, peer-to-peer marketplace, and also micropayments, all on the blockchain platform that we've developed.
And you mentioned banking there, which actually touches on the next question, because this is an AMA, and obviously it's one of the questions that your community submitted. So the community wants to know whether there's going to be a form of Visa or debit card coming out for sharing.
It's a good question, and we've actually been asked that quite a lot. So we've had offers from a number of, I guess, companies that can do white label Visa and debit cards. But one of the things that we look at is like, why would we need to do that when we can very much do things as payments with phone? Like we can use our app right now to basically scan a QR code and send a payment with that, but not just a payment. What we can actually do through that is actually have it as a richer payment experience. So it might send some of my identity with that for a rental or it might actually respond back to the receipt within the app so that I've actually got the receipt in front of me. Whereas a credit card is simply just the transfer of money with no real sort of richness associated to it. Not to say we won't, because it's a way to sort of get additional customers on board, but it's certainly not our focus at the moment.
Okay, and I think, you make a good point. It's sort of not something that you necessarily really need because, like you said, you can scan the QR code on your phone. So the audience want to know what we can expect then from you guys in the next 3 months. What are you looking forward to particularly the most?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, as a lot of people know, we recently announced some huge partnerships. So with Tencent Cloud Services, Rakuten Travel Exchange, and a bunch of others. So one of the things is we don't just announce partnerships for the sake of saying, hey, we've got a new partner. We only announce partnerships when we're ready to start doing that really tight integration with them. So we've been working with Tencent since earlier this year, in sort of February, March this year. But now is the right time because we've got our technology coming out in the next few weeks that actually demonstrates some of the integration we've done with Tencent. So in the next few weeks, we'll basically see the app come out. We've already gone live with our mainnet and Block Explorer. The app will come out, which will have a primary focus on sharing ID. So getting a lot of user sign-ups. We're going to have some giveaways to promote those sign-ups, and then we'll progressively add services after that, starting with the e-commerce platform, and then some of the travel functionality, hotel bookings, activity bookings, and then going beyond that. So all of that is definitely happening within the next 3 months.
Well, tell us about Tencent. So why is this significant? What does this mean? Just give us the overview.
Yeah, so we basically we met with Tencent. I guess first time we met with them was at the end of 2019, and we started to sort of discussing some of the identity management stuff that we're doing, the requirement to do things like good OCR on identity documents, very, very strong cloud services, and then a number of the opportunities that we were working in. And what we realized is there was a lot of synergies between what we were doing in terms of the identity management, OCR services, and those sorts of things. And they had a lot of requests and requirements from some of their clients in terms of opportunities that could take advantage of that technology. So we basically entered into an agreement with them where we, leveraged all of these opportunities. So the first version will be things like our liveness detection within the app. So when we do identity verification, instead of just a photo, we actually ask the person to do something. So they might have to nod their head and shake it, or they might need to say something, or something like that. So it's an action that stops them effectively from either just taking a photo of a photo or just playing a repeating sort of video over again. So, and then also we've been working with them to develop OCR on scanning flight bookings, hotel bookings for our visa services, and things like that. So yeah, I mean, there's heaps that we're doing with them.
Okay, now in terms of being a unique company, what do you think sets you guys apart from other tokenized blockchain companies?
So there's a few things. We're not just about creating protocols on top of existing blockchain like Ethereum and things like that. So what we're doing is we're basically creating multiple layers. And when we interact with businesses and consumers, it can be in any of these layers. So an organization that is blockchain savvy might actually choose to develop on our blockchain layer and use our protocols that we've developed on there. Or other organizations we're finding are actually using our API. So just some more traditional integration that still takes advantage of the blockchain. The other thing is that ours is purpose-built. So the protocols that we developed are very much purpose-built to the industries that we're targeting and working in right now, and they're developed to scale into those industries as well. So, millions and millions of transactions, billions of assets, without actually slowing down. So that's become a very important thing. Privacy by design is also a very big thing for us. So things like GDPR compliant, basically by design. The self-sovereign identity is very unique in the way that we're doing it in terms of how we validate and sign the identity documents. So we're not creating a bottleneck where we actually validate every document that comes through. We're actually allowing third parties to do validation and say that they're the third party. So we're doing a white paper on that very soon as well. And I mean, I could go on and on and on, but they're just a few examples.
And would you say that there are any strong competitors out there, or are you guys truly pioneers in the space?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that there's some strong competitors in certain areas. So not just within blockchain, but also within sort of traditional competitors as well that don't use blockchain technology. We've definitely got some strengths above a lot of those, and some of them have a few strengths above ours. Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to sort of name any specific ones at the moment. But when we see competitors, they're really competitors in just one area that we operate in, not as, more that sort of holistic view.
Right, okay, because you guys, I guess, sort of tap into many different markets or aspects of the space, really. Okay, now
exactly.
we spoke about Tencent, and you guys have had plenty of other partnerships this year. So how many partnerships have there been, and how many more do you have to reveal?
I lost count. So
That's great.
someone actually, someone showed me a diagram yesterday. I think there was about 14 new partnerships we've announced in the last 18 months, and all of those are basically either being integrated or have been integrated already. So, and they're a variety of like either blockchain companies or travel related companies or aggregators or even like a luggage supplier is on there. But in terms of what's upcoming, the ones that we haven't announced yet. So I think there's still 6 or 7 that we haven't announced yet, and we'll announce those at the right time when we've actually got to that point of integration with them. And then, I mean, obviously there's more and more after them, but we don't partner with partners just for the sake of announcing it. We partner only because it actually benefits and helps grow our business as well.
Absolutely makes sense. But you have a very keen community that want to know everything that's going on. So it's good to have these kind of discussions. The community are also asking about the transactions and why they're important, and also when they can expect staking.
Yeah, so I mean, transactions are important because that's the lifeblood of our blockchain. So we've got a bunch of node holders, and those node holders are basically rewarded for hosting our blockchain with transactions. So they receive share token every time transactions occur. So that is effectively their payment for hosting that blockchain. So why more transactions are important? There's 2 reasons. One is what happens when there's more transactions. That means more go into the master nodes, more tokens are staked, which creates more scarcity of tokens on the network. So I think there's a backlog of about 18 million share token that are basically being fed through the network at the moment as transactions from our testing that we've done. And then with the master nodes, they can actually allow other people to stake with them. So when we're launching the app, what we plan to do is actually allow people to also stake their tokens with the master nodes and earn more share tokens off the back of that. And we found so far with the nodes, the earnings actually really, really good with what they're getting in terms of share token.
Good, that's great to hear. And I'm really excited to see how everything develops with you guys, because like you said, there are just so many more partnerships coming. But in terms of partnerships, because I guess that is quite a big topic for you guys right now, the community are asking what the biggest factor is for a company to decide to actually use sharing, and what then pushes them over the line.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, we've actually been very, very fortunate because our team, sort of respectable business leaders, have had a lot of experience in the past, and they've got a great network of companies that they've worked with and dealt with in the past. So we've actually found it reasonably easy to walk into the very, very high levels of a lot of companies we've partnered with or a lot of potential clients and talk about what we're doing, as opposed to sort of cold calling and knocking on the door without any previous introduction. So when we do a pitch to them, it's very company specific, but we're very good at sort of identifying, the benefits of what they get out of things like the self-sovereign identity, the security, the privacy, the document verification that we do, and then also the flexibility of our system. So, when you start combining all of those system areas there, they start to notice why we might be better than company B. The biggest challenge that we have, though, is the lack of history that we as a company have had. So, the first thing they say is, what sort of case studies have you got? What have you done before? So, we're finding that easier and easier now, but it was always a bit of a roadblock. But I mean, we've got some really, really interesting demos and pilots that we're working on at the moment too.
Well, just on that last point, I think, that's kind of like the natural way things go, I guess, in crypto. It's such a new space. So, if you want to start and build something in this space, then it's going to be difficult to sort of have that backlog of, 8 years to sort of show people everything that you've done.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So just finally,
and it's also,
go for it.
Okay. What I was going to say is it's also, when we talk to these clients, we don't go in there saying, hey, we use blockchain for this, and we use crypto and all of that. We go in there and only talk about the business benefits to them and why that is good. And blockchain is part of the bigger picture for them. And actually, just on that, I forgot to mention our partnership with BSN, which is a blockchain services network. One of the biggest benefits of that is the fact that businesses have a really easy way to integrate with blockchain such as ShareLedger, because it's BSN is actually creating a gateway to make it easier for them to do that as well. So what a company can do is effectively cherry pick some services of ours, maybe some that are on Ethereum, maybe some that are on other sort of enterprise blockchains, and actually use those and integrate with them. So that's another sort of on-ramp and sales target or method that we're basically using as well.
And just finally, to close the AMA, the last question that's actually come through is, when will I be able to use sharing products like Shop and App?
So before the end of the year. Yep.
Okay. All right, Tim, is there anything else you want to leave our audience on? Any last thoughts?
No, I mean, just jump on our website, have a look what we're doing, join our Telegram groups. We've got a great community there that are more than happy to answer any difficult questions. Yeah, I mean, it's been a great ride, so looking forward to the future.
Great, thanks so much, Tim. It was an absolute pleasure hosting the AMA on Altcoin Buzz, so thank you so much for joining us, and also best of luck with the Tencent partnership.
Awesome. Thanks, Layah. Appreciate it.